Good afternoon friends, this is Pradeep from Tech and Training Corporate Solutions. In this new video, I'm going to talk about how do we use index and match function as an alternative to VLOOKUP and how to overcome the limitation of VLOOKUP, which is to fetch the data on the left hand side of the lookup column. This statement means that if I look at the example in this table, I want the respective details of the respective employee code to be fetched based on the employee code. Now the challenge here is employee code is the fourth column in my entire data. Now I have only two choices if I use VLOOKUP. One is to satisfy myself with the available data on the right hand side of this lookup column. And I cannot fetch the data which is employee name, department and hire date because it's on the left hand side. The second choice is to cut this column and paste it before the first column and make this employee code as a first column to fetch the respective data. But as I mentioned, I do not want to disturb the structure of the data. I want to keep it as it is, but still be able to fetch the details of the respective employee code. So here we will be using index and match function to solve this limitation. Those who do not know about index and match function can switch to the video which is being displayed at the top right corner. Watch that video which talks about index and match function. After that, you can come back to this exercise and learn more. So to continue this exercise ahead, as I mentioned, I am going to be using index and match function. So I type equal to index function. I'll use the first index function and it is asking me for an array. So I select the entire data. This is the entire data. Since I need to drag this formula down, I will press F4 to freeze the entire range. Now the second field is match function, which is asking me for a row number. Now here the first parameter of match function is lookup value. So I am going to look up this employee code. Now this employee code remains the same for the rest of the details as well. So when I drag it, I do not want this reference cell to change its position. So I'll freeze it. I want to look up this employee code in this entire EMP code column. Now people, here you need to remember that my array starts from the 11th row. So I have to start the new selection also from the same row, because if you don't do that, then it will be inconsistent formula and you may not get the respective details. So this is very important that my array which is started from 11th row, hence my row number must also start from 11th row. Now the last parameter of match function is 0 because we need perfect match. Similarly, I'll write one more match function to fetch the column number. Now here this function will identify the row in which my data exists, and new match function will determine the column. So I'll select employee name, and this employee name is somewhere to be found in this entire range, and I'll freeze this again because my headers are not going to change. And now the last parameter is 0 because I need perfect match. So I'll close the bracket and I'll press enter, and since I have written this formula with proper $sign, I can drag it down. I'm sorry, there's one $sign which is missing in this match function. Again, that needs to be frozen like this. And now I'll press enter to drag this further. So here I have got all the details, but this hire date is showing me the number. So you just need to change the formatting of this column, of this cell, and I'll press Ctrl Shift 3 to change the formatting. So people, Ctrl Shift 3 is a shortcut to choose the date format. So here if I change the employee code, let's assume that I'm choosing employee code number 6. So let's compare the details. Employee code number 6 is Alan Thomas, which is an admin department, and here is the entire data. So all these details are correct as per the fetched data. So here you can see employee name, department and hire date are on the left hand side of my employee code, and rest of the details are on the right hand side of the employee code. And this index and match function is doing a good job to locate the fields respectively. We also have one more limitation of VLOOKUP which is going to be discussed in the next video. You can click on the link being displayed at the top right corner of the screen to switch over to another video which talks about duplicate data in employee code. For an example, if I have two employee code having the same ID, let's say I have E001, which is practically not possible in an organization where two employee code have the same data, but this is just a general example that I'm considering, that I have two employee code having the same employee code. Then in that case, VLOOKUP's limitation is it only fetches the first data. So let's say this is the Terry that is being fetched. Now I select second employee code and the data remains the same. It doesn't look up the second record. So the answer is available in the next video. So people, this is one video which talks about how do you overcome the limitation of VLOOKUP to fetch the data on the left hand side. I hope you have liked it. Thank you very much for watching it. Take care. Bye bye.